Try to imitate me, even as I myself try to imitate the Messiah. Now I praise you because you have remembered everything I told you and observed the traditions just the way I passed them on to you. But I want you to understand that the head of every man is the Messiah, and the head of her wife is her husband, and the head of the Messiah is God. Every man who prays or prophesies wearing something down over his head brings shame to his head. But every woman who prays or prophesies with her head unveiled brings shame to her head. There is no difference between her and a woman who has her head shaved. For if a woman is not veiled, let her also have her hair cut short. But if it is shameful for a woman to wear her hair cut short or to have her head shaved, then let her be veiled. For a man indeed should not have his head veiled, because he is in the image of the glory of God, and the woman is the glory of man. The man was not made from woman, but the woman from man. And indeed, man was not created for the sake of the woman, but woman for the sake of the man. The reason a woman should show by veiling her head that she is under the authority has to do with the angels. Nevertheless, in union with the Lord, neither is woman independent of man, nor is man independent of woman. For as the woman has made from the man, so also the man is now born through the woman. But everything is from God. Decide for yourself. Is it appropriate for a woman to pray to God when she is unveiled? Doesn't the nature of things itself teach you that a man who wears his hair long degrades himself, but a woman who wears her hair long enhances her appearance, because her hair has been given to her as a covering? However, if anyone wants to argue about it, the fact remains that we have no such custom, nor do the Messianic communities of God. But in giving you this next instruction, I do praise you, because you meet together, it does more harm than good. For in the first place, I hear that when you gather together as a congregation, you divide up into cliques. And to a degree, I believe it, granted that there must be some divisions among you in order to show who are the ones in the right. Thus, when you gather together, it is not to eat a meal of the Lord, because as you eat your meal, each one of you goes ahead on his own way, so that one stays hungry while another has already drunk. Don't you have homes to eat and drink in? Or are you trying to show your contempt for God's messianic community and embarrass those who are poor? What I am supposed to say to you? Am I supposed to praise you? Well, for this I don't praise you. For what I received from the Lord is just what I passed on to you. But the Lord Yeshua, on the night he was betrayed, took bread, and after he ate, made the baracha. He broke it and said, "This is my body, which is for you. Do this in memorial for me." Likewise, also the cup after the meal, saying, "This cup is the new covenant, effected by my blood. Do this as often as you drink it, as a memorial to me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink the cup, you proclaim the death of the Lord until he comes. Therefore, whoever eats the Lord's bread or drinks the Lord's cup in an unworthy manner will be guilty of desecrating the body and the blood of the Lord. So let a person examine himself first. Then he may eat of the bread and drink from the cup. For a person who eats and drinks without recognizing the body eats and drinks judgment upon himself. This is why many among you are weak and sick, and some have died. And if we would examine ourselves, we would not come under judgment. But when we are judged by the Lord, we are being disciplined, so that we will not be condemned along with the world. So then, my brothers, when you gather together to eat, wait for one another. If someone is hungry, he should eat at home, so that when you meet together, it will not result in judgment. As for the other matters, I will instruct you about them when I come. But brothers, I do not want you to go on being ignorant about the things of the Spirit. You know that when you were pagans, no matter how you felt, you were being led. You were being led astray to idols, which can't speak at all. Therefore, I want to make it clear to you that no one speaks by the Spirit of God ever says Yeshua is cursed, and no one can say Yeshua is Lord except by the Ruach HaKodesh. Now there are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit gives them. Also, there are different kinds of serving, but it is the same Lord being served. And there are different modes of working, but it is the same God working them all in everyone. Moreover, to each person is given the particular manifestation of the Spirit that will be for the common good. To one, through the Spirit, is given a word of wisdom. To another, a word of knowledge in accordance with the same Spirit. To another, faith by the same Spirit. And to another, gifts of healing by the one Spirit. To another, the working of miracles. To another, prophecy. To another, the ability to judge between spirits. To another, the ability to speak in different kinds of tongues. And to yet another, the ability to interpret tongues. One and the same Spirit is at work in all these things, distributing to each person as he chooses. For just as the body is one, but has many parts, and all the parts of the body through many constitute one body, so it is with the Messiah. For it was by one Spirit that we were all immersed into one body, whether Jew or Gentile, slaves or free, and we were given the one Spirit to drink. For indeed, the body is not one part, but many. If the foot says, I'm not a hand, so I'm not part of the body, that doesn't make it stop being part of the body. And if the ear says, I'm not an eye, so I'm not part of the body, that doesn't make it stop being part of the body. If the whole body is an eye, how would it hear? And if all hearing, how could it smell? But as it is, God arranged each of the parts in the body exactly as he wanted them. Now, if they were all just one part, where would the body be? But as it is, there are indeed many parts, just one body. So the eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you, or the hand say to the feet, I don't need you. On the contrary, the parts of the body that seem to be less important turn out to be all the more necessary. And upon the body parts which we consider less dignified, we bestow greater dignity. And the parts that aren't attractive are the ones we make attractive as we can, while our attractive parts have no need for such treatment. Indeed, God has put the body together in such a way that he gives greater dignity to the parts that lack it, so that there will be no disagreements within the body, but rather all the parts will be equally concerned for all the others. Thus, if one part suffers, all the parts suffer with it. And if one part is honored, all the parts share its happiness. Now you together constitute the body of the Messiah, and individually you are parts of it. And God has placed in the Messianic community first emissaries, second prophets, third teachers, then those who work miracles, then those with gifts of healing, then those ability to help, then those skilled in administration, and those who speak in various tongues. Not all emissaries are they. Not all are prophets, are they? Or teachers, or miracle workers. Not all have gifts of healing. Not all speak in tongues. Not all interpret, do they? Eagerly seek the better gifts. But now I'll show you the best way of all. I speak in the tongues of men, even angels. But if I lack love, I have become merely blaring brass or a cymbal clanging. I may have the gift of prophecy. I may fathom all mysteries, know all things, have all faith, enough to move mountains. But if I lack love, I am nothing. I may give away everything that I own. I may even hand over my body to be burned. But if I lack love, I gain nothing. Love is patient and kind, not jealous, not boastful, not proud, rude, or selfish, not easily angered. and it keeps no records of wrongs. Love does not gloat over other people's sins, but takes its delight in the truth. Love always bears up, always trusts, always hopes, always endures. Love never ends. But prophecies will pass, tongues will cease, knowledge will pass. For our knowledge is partial, and our prophecy partial. But when the perfect comes, the partial will pass. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, thought like a child, argued like a child. Now that I've become a man, I have finished with childish ways. For now we see obscurely in a mirror, but then it will be face to face. Now I know partially, then I will know fully, just as God has fully known me. But for now, 3 things last: trust, hope, love. The greatest of these is love. Pursue love.